And we're back. People of Escape, we're back for another episode. Welcome to the Escape in the Park podcast with me, Tim Dennis. Very special announcement this month. I hope you have all noticed that you asked and we have delivered. We've now moved the festival to August the 20th, 2022 at Singleton Park in Swansea. So make sure you go and get all of your tickets if you want to see the likes of Subfocus, Judge Jules, Audio Freak, and the people that I am spending half an hour with at this interview, Callie and Juice, the local legends. A lot more to be announced on that. So get across to escapefestival.co.uk and snap up your tickets. So the world is back open. We're into 2022. I had the pleasure of spending half an hour with Callie and Juice. They were absolutely amazing. One over in Bali, one here in the UK. And funnily enough, we did experience some minor difficulties with the sound coming from Callie. So I do apologise about that. We'll look to get it re-recorded, but they have promised that they will be back for us to do some extended episodes closer to the time. We'll take a look back at Escape, the history of it, where it started, speak to some of the founders, and also as well, look back at some absolutely brilliant historical footage that the guys have been so kind to let us have a look at. But that's enough of me for now. Let me hand you over to me again and Callie and Juice. Wow. Here we are, Escapers. We're back for another episode, and you wanted some big names. We have brought you two of the biggest. I don't need to do the introduction. You can see them in front of me. Callie and Juice, how the devil are we guys? Good?
Yeah, we're very good.
Good. So, obviously, a lot has been happening over the last year since we've announced now that the festival has been brought into the summer. So, Juice, you're going to have to get on a flight slightly earlier now to come over. But yeah, are you guys looking forward to coming back to Escape?
Oh, we can't wait. I only found out today that it was August because I knew we were booked. I was so happy when I saw, because it was great last year, but I'm sure, like everyone was excited to see that you've managed to blag an August date. That was, I literally an hour ago I saw it, and I was like, and my reaction was like, oh yes, it is proper old school Escape in the Park times now. So yeah. So brilliant, really excited.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to be amazing. And Callie, I think you can obviously vouch for the buzz since we have moved the date. There's been quite a lot of talk on social media around South Wales. So yeah, what's been the reaction kind of more locally as Juice is now sunning himself permanently over in Bali?
Oh no, it's been kicking off down here. All the locals are super excited about it.
Yeah. Bringing a plane over.
Bringing the Bali massive over.
Yeah, I mean, the buzz I've seen has been amazing. I've seen loads of hype for the lineup as well. Everyone's really excited for the lineup. Yeah, just like, full on. I haven't seen one negative call. Like, literally, it's just been super positive that, everything I've seen. So
it does look amazing. And like you said, the lineup, the first phase lineup was announced last week. So we've got some great acts coming. We've now got the Logic Extra Hard 10. I think that's what everyone, the comments were saying, was move it to a summer date. And also as well, we want it harder. So yeah, it's ask and you shall receive, basically. So
yeah, you've ticked that box.
Oh, absolutely. It looks an absolutely disgusting lineup. And I was speaking to Jason and the guys as well. I know that there's some very more big names and some exciting stuff to come from the festival. But let's go back. It's you guys were there at the beginning of Escape as well. You guys have been around for a while. But for the people that are uneducated, I don't think there's many of those guys. I think if you are into the hard dance, and you haven't heard of you, then you're not obviously into hard dance. But, just go back to the beginning. When did you two kind of start working together, and how did you meet, and kind of what was your entrance into kind of the professional DJing scene?
Well,
Callie, you can go. You start with how we met.
Yeah, so I mean, we like before I was even DJing. Actually, I was just getting into the rave scene, and I went to a festival over the other side of the country in Peterborough, of all places, which is, I mean, that's got to be about 4 hours from where I live. And, it was sort of back in, early 90s. And it was just, when you went to a festival, I mean, it was my first experience, but all night I was bumping into people and everyone wanted to shake your hand, and it was like, you know, where you from, you know,
what's your name,
yeah, what's your name, where you from? So, you know, I mean, I must have had like, you know, 100, 200, 300 encounters like that throughout the night, and it was just one crazy looking guy, and he just stuck in my head. And I remember him speaking to me, and yeah, that was kind of it. That was that festival that week. So then literally, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks later, I went to my first ever club night, which then was a little closer to home, which was in Swansea, which was obviously where Mr. Juice is from, you know, that kind of neck of the woods. So I went to this club night, and all of a sudden this guy came up to me, and I thought, he looks so familiar. I know him. I definitely know him. And then I had this flashback and thought, this was this crazy guy in the festival who was talking to me. So anyway, he said, you know, do you want to come back to a house party at the end of the night? So like, this was literally my first club in rave sort of experience. So I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Went back to the house party. It turned out to be Juice's brother. And that was the first...
It was my house.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. His house. And I think from that week onwards, for the next, I don't even know how many years, I went back to that house party every week for like, I don't even, like years.
Right, it was over a decade. What was it? What happened in the house stays in the house, but how no one died is staggering.
Yeah, definitely.
Just even with that brief statement there, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're on about. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, we said towards the end, it actually went on for too long, because we were like, this is going to slow down, because we were, and then, you know, when the DJing sort of came later, well, we started making music first. So Juice's brother actually the pair of you, they were both making music. They'd done a few things, and then we got chatting, and I was like, oh, I make a bit of music as well. And so that came first, and so then the DJing later.
Yeah, but it was like Cali was DJing. I wasn't, but he never played out. I mean, we met really in the absolute. We were just 2 or 3 ravers, just excited. I mean, really excited. This scene was, you know, it changed youth culture, and we were young enough to be there at the very start of it. Yeah. So, you know, the illegal raves, the police roadblocks, the 4-hour traffic jams on the M4. It was, you know, when they review the last century in 100 years' time, and they show videos of newsreel, it's going to be on that. It changed everything, and we just happened to come together because of my crazy brother. And after getting some popular tunes out, I was like, well, I can actually DJ. I just haven't DJ'd. And we started, and after about 2 years of doing it separately and both getting good bookings, without being an idiot, but we both accelerated quite well up the sort of league tables. We played 1997 New Year's Eve at Dreamscape.
Wow!
First back to back, there were 300 people in our arena. It was freezing cold, and they held 3,000. Right, we were second hour. Yeah. 15 minutes later, it was 1 in, 1 out, 3,000 people. And hang on, I got goosebumps now. And we were like, done. We should do this again. and that was in 1997. So it worked out all right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We may have done 1 or 2 things afterwards, but you know,
we'll give it a go. Yeah. We actually worked out. We've done about 2,500 gigs.
Wow.
Over the course of that period.
There was a period, wasn't it, that you guys were 2 of the busiest DJs, like the bookings you were doing and stuff like that were phenomenal. So, and it's a credit to you guys, as I said, and like you said, you have to, in anything, if you put the effort in, like you said, you'll accelerate quickly. But a lot of it, and it's quite funny as well, with a lot of DJs that I've spoke to doing this podcast, a lot of it is just being like chance meetings or being in the right place at the right time. And it's just kind of not faked it until they've made it, but it's literally just been like, I spoke to Lisa Lashes, and she was like, she played once on a party, on a party boat, and then got picked up by the promoter for Sunday Central, and it just launched a career. And then she's literally gone on to bigger and greater things, obviously, since then. Same with you guys, just a chance meeting and a lightness of minds, probably, and just like you said, that connection, and just being in the right place for the right time. And it sounds like that right place was your house and the right time was every Saturday night.
For a decade.
For a decade, yeah. So,
I mean, but I'll be honest. Back then, there was no business. There was no business skills. No treating it like a business. I mean, literally, sometimes we'd be doing like, several gigs on a weekend. We'd be like, how the hell has this happened? Because like we have not got that kind of, we did the business mindset kind of came later, where we started to look at it a little bit more professionally. But in the early days, everything happened so fast. I mean, we could barely even kind of see what was. It was just happening so quickly. It was just.
Yeah, we were in a dream for all ravers, because every raver, including us, was in the crowd, blowing the whistles, wishing they were on the stage. Yeah. And we were still in our heads, ravers. We were on the stage. Yeah. Thousands of people were like, what the F is happening? So it was life-changing. Yeah. And we speak, this is 25 years later. We went to a gig when I was back in the summer, and it was down in south of England. It was a 4-hour road trip, 8-hour round trip. We had the same excitement for the before and after the set, and we didn't stop talking for all of the 8 hours with our friendship and our pure adrenaline and excitement for what we were doing. Yeah. That is our job. Yeah. My God, there's not many jobs you can do for someone that excited about. We just couldn't stop talking about it. So that's a blessing and an honor to be able to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, it's a privilege to be able to, and again, half the battle, if you can enjoy the job that you're doing, then you've won half the battle. And like you said, you're living what every raver's dream is, but also as well, the way that you're able to live that dream is you're still living it as a raver, and you've tried to keep that excitement rather than, like you said, obviously the business side of it has to come later on, but you've also as well, you've kept that excitement and like the energy about it. And I think that's what it comes across obviously massively in your sets. It's not just the beats per minute, it's still obviously the energy that you guys give behind the decks as well.
Well, the skip in the park coming back for everybody I know, right? So this year's going to be going to be, we all know it's going to be massive, because last year was just a look on every single person's face was one, everyone's out of quarantine. Everyone's out for the first rave. Two, we're all coming back together. We're all at a single park. You guys have brought back Escape in the Park. Thank you so much. But the look of people's faces. But there's a picture on our Facebook page. One of the sort of press shots of me and Callie. We got our arms around there. Yeah. You look at the joy in our faces. I keep looking at it. It is exploding out of us, and that's what people looked like the whole day. There was this euphoria, this natural high, which that Singleton Park and Escape in the Park brought back with everybody. It was incredible, and I was sober as a judge as well, and I still loved it.
We did. I think we did. Excluding the last one, I think we did 9 Escape in the Parks in a row, didn't we? And we always said every year it was just the best thing we ever played. I mean, even though we played bigger festivals abroad, it was just the fact that I think a big part of it was just always looking into the crowd and knowing the first 300 people at the front.
Exactly that. And also, like you said, but knowing that that's you, it's kind of like you're one of those kind of it was kind of, like you said, obviously both kind of local boys and just kind of growing up professionally as a dance duo with kind of Escape. And like you said, you would either, with that sort of event when it's local, it's and you want to give the best performance, because if you weren't a DJ, you'd be one of those first 300 people.
And as for Escape in the Park, although it gets very hectic, there was no rushing off to a VIP tent. We'd be straight off the set, straight with all the gear, all the makeup, straight into the crowd and talk for 8 hours solid with everybody, which we did this time. And the energy and it's you just feel honored and privileged to people have got to say, people got engaged at a Callie and Juice set. People met their best friends at Escape in the Park 2002, the intro to 2003 Escape in the Park. It was all these things that have tent peg moments of people's lives that escape in the park and everything like that. It's incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
Incredible.
And also as well, you guys as well, like you said, with a career that spans so long, again, like you'll be intertwined in people's lives and kind of stitched in memories, like you said, of when people went and saw you in Dreamscape at 97, and then all of a sudden they felt then they were one of the 300 that were first in there, and then felt a wave then of music coming that way and people coming this way with just the audience filling up. As I said, people will have moments like that, and it's a privilege to be able to share those sort of moments. But it brings me on to another thing that I wanted to talk about, and we talked about it briefly before we started recording. There's big debates going on at the moment about the 90s ravers or the nowadays ravers. Now, if anyone is classed to be able to make a judgment on this, I think that you guys who have seen it all, as you said, you were there in the like the hardcore days with Dreamscape, then have gone across into obviously the hard dance, and then now working on other kind of different projects. But really, you've seen it from day dot to where we are now. State the case, guys. What do you think, 90s or today? What are you going to go for?
Well, I've got the answer that will keep the argument going, but I've also got a rather more boring and logical answer for you first. So first of all, it's going to be 90s ravers. Because what the hell are you talking about? Did you not just hear the thing I said? We will be on newsreels in 100 years' time. You won't be this time, so forget that crap. Right.
Yeah. Nowadays, we'll be on a newsreel for 24 hours on their story. That's it.
Maybe on their phones, on their Insta feeds. Okay, so that's my controversial answer. Right. I think the reality is, even if you look at 90s raves or the noughties or actually any time ever, talk to your parents and they go, oh, the 60s were crazy, or the 80s, whatever it's going to be. The fact is, when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, and you discover clubbing or raving, or it could be rock concerts, I don't give a shit what it is. When you discover it, it is the most pivotal time in your life. And you're thinking, this is the best thing. We all get this, and nobody else is going to understand this. So everyone is right. Because as long as you feel in your heart and in your mind that these moments, these memories will never be created again, you're right. It's the best moments of doing it. So it's compare them. It's two different things. It's you know, when they're 40, they're going to think the music is crap. And their kids will be going, this is the best moment ever. Everyone's right. As long as you were influenced that much by it, that's the real answer. But I prefer the first answer. But that's the real answer.
Callie, where are you staking your flag in this one, then, mate?
Yeah. So it's a tough one because I think that, you know, like Gary said, when you're young, when you first get into it, that is your best time, you know, whenever that is. And of course, like, you know, a lot of people, especially the younger people now, wouldn't have been there to witness, you know, what happened in the 90s. I think that we're at a slight disadvantage these days. You know, there's a lot of distraction, you know, everyone's got their mobile phones. And I mean, there's nothing I dislike more than, you know, going to an event and you just seeing everyone's hands in the air with their phone and they're watching what is going on in front of them through a little couple of inch screen instead of, you know, live in the moment. Now that was one thing I loved about Escape, because you go back and look at photos and videos of our set and there weren't that many phones in the air, you know. It was that sort of pure energy. And, you know, I think there are still those events and those moments, but they're when people kind of forget about the distractions, and it's all about like living in the moment. And when you can do that and really enjoy it for what it is, instead of, you know, like I said, you know, the phone thing, then, you know, you are going to get that. So I think
that's a good answer, Callie. I should have said that one. That's a good one.
We'll edit that. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Just put me in with that as well. So what he said.
It is true. I mean, like you guys said, it's all about living in the moment. I can remember walking into my first kind of hard house event, and it was nothing that I'd listened to before. I'd heard about this club, went to a club in Birmingham, walked in, and it just blew my mind. And like you said, I walked in there and I just went, this is me. There was an instant connection. And then from that day, again, every weekend for about 2 years, going down to Birmingham, then you had kind of opening kind of like God's Kitchen and things like that as well that were coming out. And obviously then the movement became massive at the late kind of 90s, early 2000s with that. But again, you can't be afraid to kind of just immerse yourself in it. I think the problem is that people can get caught up, especially nowadays, of being too mainstream and just being told what they need to like. But again, like you guys brought something a little bit different with kind of the goth kind of rock look and stuff like that. But you must have seen some trends. Obviously, the mobile phone's the biggest, but it must be quite weird as well now that you guys have got a career, and again, this is meant with all the respect in the world, that has gone full circle. So everyone, when you started off in the mid kind of early 90s, but they're all dressed like that now. I find it very, very weird that we've gone kind of culturally just full circle. And again, like just hard house and kind of hard energy song music, kind of not it ever went away, but coming back more into the kind of mainstream music. Do you find that?
That's a really good point. Like something that I've noticed is, when I'm scrolling through Facebook now and again, and I see Mixmag pop up a lot, and like I swear, like 50% of Mixmag's posts must be all about old school and old rave music and stuff. Now, the ironic thing is they actually didn't support it back then. And, like hardcore was always like it was like, oh, get over there, don't embarrass us. And
hardcore, family, wasn't it?
Yeah, hardcore and rave was really pushed into that corner and it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is now it's being flaunted as, and it's like, well, who were you guys back then?
Exactly, isn't it? It's good because it's now kind of got into the not hipster, but kind of like like I said, it's kind of gone from being the awkward uncle to kind of the cool kind of cousin now, hasn't it? Kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
I think the fact. Yeah, I think the fact it's what it's done is it's survived and thrived through all this time. The fact that look, Escaping the Park, and there's so many classic DJ sets there, and it was so busy and so well popular, so they can't really ignore it because it's a large target audience that have proven that it wasn't a flash in the pan. It's still here 20 years later in all its various guises. It's still here and still being debated and talked about and still being excited about months before events happen. So it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, and one thing that I've noticed as well, and I mean I'm even guilty of it myself. I mean it's the time of going clubbing every single weekend is long gone. The need for kind of hip and knee replacements from kind of bopping along for hours upon end is ever nearer. But it's one thing now that I find that since the lockdown and things like that people like the online rave kind of scene and kind of like DJ set scene obviously took off where people needed to make a living. But I think it's brought a lot of people out of the woodwork that have kind of like, well, do you know what? I think I still might have a few nights in the locker here that I might get to go back out. And it's crazy kind of like the not even, I say old school nights, but it's kind of just like I've seen ones like Ibiza Legends and stuff like that, where they're kind of selling out kind of massive venues where normally kind of before COVID, it would be 200-300 people that they'd be performing to. Now, there just seems to be a massive surge of people just wanting to get out and just have a good time. And I think that's, like you said at the beginning of the interview, it was very apparent to see during Escape. But talking of that, what kind of things have you seen since you've been back out of lockdown? I know obviously Juice, obviously you're based over there as well. But Callie, it must be good to obviously now after the shit that's gone on over Christmas and kind of clubs in Wales being kind of shut down, that was obviously a bit of a kick in the balls to everyone in the industry and not what anyone needed. But what have you been seeing kind of and what you've got on the horizon?
Well, I mean, when we were doing our podcast, we did like a series. We did the actual podcast, but then we did some like live chats with whoever the guest was we had on. And we brought it up on quite a few episodes. We sort of said that as bad as the kind of whole situation was, it could be a sort of there could be something good come from it. And that was all of a sudden people realized that maybe they were taking it for granted. And, I'll be honest, just before it all started, the whole COVID thing started, numbers of venues were down on what they'd been in previous years. And, we were like, I'd be going in a car to a gig thinking, is it going to be busy? Back in our day, we never used to think that everywhere was just busy. So and what's been amazing to see is the sort of, I think the first 5 or 6 gigs I had when I came back, everyone was rammed, and it was amazing. Like, I felt like that vibe had come back a little bit, that atmosphere had come back. You know, the numbers had definitely gone up, and I think, you know, like I said, people had maybe realized they were taking it for granted, and that had slightly gone away, and now they were like, right, let's go back to living in the moment. Every opportunity we get, let's go out. And so, you know, it's been fantastic, and I'm just kind of hoping, right, let's hope we can keep that now. You know, let's hope it's here to stay. So,
well, absolutely, yeah. I think if the last couple of weeks has taught us anything, that if you're partying in 10 Downing Street all the time, there's no way that they're going to be able to stop us partying anymore over here. So I think it's. And again, touch wood, I think I've said this on this podcast about 7 times over the last 18 months that it's finished now, and I've been proved wrong every fucking time. Yeah, I think now everyone's looking forward to the summer. I think it's going to be an amazing year for everyone. And again, like you said, everyone's now pumped. Everyone's ready to get back out there. Obviously, the tickets have gone on sale now for Escape, and all the other festivals are starting to release their lineup. So it's that real exciting time now that it's going to happen. But on that one, guys, have you got any final words before we leave to the people of Escape? What can we look forward to? I know, Callie, you've got a new release out today as well. So if you want to tell us a little bit more about that and where we can find it, we'll be able to obviously get people listening to that and get people in the mood ready for Escape.
Yeah, so I've got a new collab out today with Aussie DJ and producer Steve Hill. So it's a nice big vocal one, a vocal that everyone will recognize, and I've actually been playing it in my sets for a couple of years now, so it's been quite long overdue to come out. So I've had a lot of people asking for it, so yeah, you can get your hands on that today. But yeah, as for Escape, I mean, we just can't wait. You know, it's literally going to be definitely one of, if not the highlight of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally waited for the Escape date to book my flight back. So I'm coming back to play at Escape in the park. So I hope you appreciate that, everybody. I'm flying 24 hours, taking PCR tests, getting everything checked just to come back. So you better turn up, and we better be having it.
I don't think anyone's going to feel sorry for you turning up to a rave and having to shove shit up your nose. Don't feel sorry for it. You've been doing it for fucking years. Well, I think you'll all agree that was an absolutely barnstorming half-an-hour interview there. Thank you so much to Callie and Juice for sparing the time. Absolutely local legends. Some great stories that we were talking about off air as well. So we'll be sure to share those with you. But yeah, big respect to those guys. Really looking forward to seeing them in the summer. But over to you guys. This is the new way that we're looking at doing the podcast. We'll be trying out some new bits as well in the forthcoming months. I'll be at Escape Records HQ. We'll be talking to everyone there about the excitement for not only this, but for the other festivals that you've got coming up. So remember to look at In It Together, Colour Clash, and many, many more that we'll be announcing over the time. So I'm going to leave you now. Have a great month. Enjoy the music. Enjoy being out and about. And I'll see you when winter is over and we're another month closer to Escape in the Park. Take care, guys.